Have you ever experienced a bond so deep that nothing could tear it apart? Imagine the love between a 10-year-old boy and his pet deer, a connection so strong that it defied the very laws of nature. But what happens when that bond is tragically broken, and the boy is left with nothing but his grief and a desire for revenge? In today's story, we dive into an emotional journey of love, loss, and redemption, where one boy's love for his pet changes the entire forest forever. How far would you go to avenge the loss of someone you love? Would you risk everything for the ones who can't speak for themselves? Stay tuned as we unravel the incredible story of Liam, Oliver, and the unexpected allies that help him seek justice. But before we jump into this gripping tale, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel for more heart-wrenching stories like this. Hit the bell icon so you never miss an emotional journey that will move your soul. Let's get started. The sun was setting over the forests of Montana, turning the sky a warm orange. At the edge of the woods, a small wooden cabin stood quietly among the trees. This was home to Liam, a 10-year-old boy who loved the forest more than anything else. But Liam wasn't alone. His best friend, Oliver, a gentle deer, lived with him. Oliver wasn't just a pet, he was family. Liam had found Oliver years ago when the deer was just a baby. A storm had knocked down a tree, and it took the life of Oliver's mother. Liam, only 6 at the time, found the tiny fawn shivering and scared. Without a second thought, Liam took Oliver home. He fed him, cared for him, and made sure he was never alone. Over time, Oliver grew strong and healthy, with shiny brown fur and big, kind eyes. Since then, they had been inseparable. Every day, Liam and Oliver explored the forest together. They ran through meadows, splashed in streams, and climbed rocks. At night, Oliver would rest near Liam's window, and the moonlight would shine down on both of them. Liam often talked to Oliver as if he were a person, and it felt like Oliver understood him. If Liam was happy, Oliver would bounce around playfully. If Liam was sad, Oliver would gently nuzzle him, offering quiet comfort. But not everyone understood their special bond. "Liam, be careful," his father warned one evening. "The forest isn't always safe. Wild animals like tigers and lions have been seen nearby. You need to stay close to home." Liam nodded, but deep down, he didn't believe the forest could be dangerous. To him, it was a magical place where nothing bad could happen. Still, his father's warning stayed in the back of his mind. One cool autumn morning, with leaves crunching underfoot and the air smelling fresh and crisp, Liam decided to surprise Oliver with a fun adventure. He planned a treasure hunt, their favorite game. Liam spent the morning hiding little clues along their usual trail in the forest. Each clue would lead to the next, and at the end of the hunt, a basket of treats waited, sweet apples for Oliver and a sandwich for Liam. As he tied the last clue to a branch, Liam felt excited. "Oliver's going to love this," he said to himself with a smile. He ran back to the cabin, where Oliver stood waiting, his big eyes watching Liam with curiosity. "Ready for an adventure, buddy?" Liam asked, hugging the deer around the neck. Oliver gently nuzzled Liam's cheek in response. With the first clue in hand, Liam and Oliver set off into the forest, their hearts full of excitement. They didn't know that this day would change everything. Deep in the woods, something was watching. A shadow, a predator. But for now, it was just a game, a simple treasure hunt. Soon it would become a test of love, courage, and the bond between a boy and his best friend. Liam and Oliver walked deeper into the forest, following the clues for their treasure hunt. At first, everything seemed normal. The trees, the sunlight, and the soft rustling of leaves. But soon, the forest grew quiet. Too quiet. The birds stopped chirping, and the breeze no longer moved the branches. Liam felt the change. Something wasn't right. "Let's keep going, Oliver," he said, trying to shake off the feeling. Oliver stayed close, his ears twitching at every sound. The trail became muddy, making each step harder. Suddenly, Liam's foot sank deep into the mud, and he couldn't pull it out. "Oh no, I'm stuck," Liam said, pulling at his leg. Oliver stopped, looking back at him with worried eyes. "It's okay, buddy. I'll get out," Liam said, trying to stay calm. But before he could free himself, a low, growling sound came from the trees. It was deep and scary, like something big was hiding nearby. Oliver's ears stood straight up. He sensed the danger. Then, from the shadows, a huge Bengal tiger appeared. Its bright orange and black stripes blended with the trees, and its golden eyes focused on Oliver. Liam's heart raced. "Oliver, run!" he shouted, pulling harder to free his leg. Oliver took a step back, but he didn't run. He didn't want to leave Liam. The tiger crept closer, its muscles tense, ready to attack. "Please, run," Liam begged, tears filling his eyes. But Oliver stayed, and in that moment, the tiger jumped. It pounced on Oliver, its claws sinking into the deer's side. Oliver let out a cry and tried to escape, but the tiger was too strong. "No!" Liam screamed, struggling to get free. He pulled with all his strength, and finally, his leg came loose from the mud. He fell forward, but when he looked up, it was too late. The tiger had disappeared into the forest, leaving only silence behind. Liam crawled to Oliver. His best friend, his brother, was lying still on the ground. "Oliver!" "No," Liam whispered, tears streaming down his face. He gently touched Oliver's fur, still warm, but quickly growing cold. Liam hugged him tightly, his body shaking with sobs. "I'm so sorry," he cried. "I should have been faster. I should have saved you." His cries echoed through the trees, filling the forest with his sadness. Even the tiger, far away now, paused for a moment, as if hearing the pain in Liam's voice. Liam held Oliver close, rocking back and forth. The forest, which had always been their happy place, now felt cold and empty. "You were my best friend, my family," Liam whispered through his tears. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the ground, Liam sat alone with his dearest friend, his heart broken. But deep inside, something began to grow, a quiet determination. This wasn't the end. Somehow, he would find a way to make things right. Liam sat on the forest floor, still holding Oliver's lifeless body. His heart felt heavy, and his tears kept falling. The world around him felt so empty now. He felt so alone. Just as he thought he couldn't bear it anymore, he heard a soft noise from the trees. Liam looked up, wiping his eyes, unsure of what to expect. Out of the shadows, a chimpanzee appeared. The chimp was small and gentle-looking, with dark fur and kind eyes. He moved toward Liam slowly, holding something in his hands. Liam was surprised. He'd never seen a chimp so close before. The chimp stopped a few feet away, staring at Liam. Then, without a sound, he held out a small fruit to him. Liam stared at the fruit, then took it. "Thanks," he whispered, his voice shaky. The chimp didn't speak, of course, but he made a soft humming noise and sat down beside Liam. Gently, he patted Liam's arm, as if to comfort him. Liam sniffled and wiped his eyes. Even though he was still sad, the chimp's kindness made him feel a little better. "What's your name?" Liam asked quietly. The chimp didn't answer, but he made a few soft noises, like he was talking to Liam in his own way. "I'll call you Max," Liam said, feeling a little smile on his face. Max seemed to like that name. He nodded and reached for another fruit. Liam took a small bite, but it didn't taste as sweet as it should have. All he could think about was Oliver. But he didn't feel as alone with Max by his side. Max nudged Liam's sleeve gently, as if saying, "Come with me." Liam looked at him, unsure. "Where are we going?" Max made a soft noise and started walking away, looking back to see if Liam would follow. Liam hesitated for a moment, then looked back at Oliver. It hurt to leave him, but Max seemed to be leading him somewhere important. "Okay," Liam said, standing up. "I'll follow you." Max stayed close as they walked together through the quiet forest, the moonlight shining through the trees. For the first time in a while, Liam felt a little less lost. Maybe Max had a plan. Maybe there was hope after all. Max led Liam through the thick trees, his small body moving swiftly through the underbrush. Liam followed closely, still feeling the weight of his grief, but also a flicker of curiosity about where Max was taking him. After what felt like hours, they reached a hidden part of the forest. It was quiet, peaceful, and filled with life. A soft breeze rustled the leaves, and Liam noticed various animals watching them from the trees and bushes. "This is it," Max said, stopping. Liam looked around in awe. It was like a sanctuary. The animals here had clearly survived some of the harshest dangers in the forest, just like Oliver had, just like he now hoped to do. Max led him to a small clearing, where a group of animals gathered. There were deer, rabbits, even some birds with bright feathers. They all seemed to have their own stories to tell, and Liam could see the strength in their eyes. "They've all been through something," Max explained. "Each of them survived a predator, just like you and Oliver. This place is a safe haven." Liam nodded slowly. He understood. This was where the forest's survivors came to heal, to find safety and peace. But Max didn't stay for long. He turned to Liam with a serious expression. "You want revenge for Oliver?" Max said quietly. Liam's heart tightened. "Yes, I want to make sure that Tiger never hurts anyone again." Max nodded and looked toward the far side of the clearing. "I can help you," he said. Liam's eyes widened. "How?" Max looked back at Liam with an expression full of wisdom. "Lions," he said simply. "Lions are natural enemies of tigers. They know how to fight them. If you want to face that tiger and make sure it never harms anyone again, we'll need the help of lions." Liam's mind raced. "Lions? But how can we get them to help us?" Max smiled. "That's where I come in." He took a deep breath and started to show Liam the language of the forest. The animals in this forest speak to each other in ways humans can't always understand. There are signals, sounds, and movements that you need to learn. The lions will hear them, and when they do, they'll know it's time to fight. Liam watched closely as Max demonstrated a series of hand gestures, body movements, and sounds, soft clicks, low growls, and gentle whistles. It felt strange at first, but as Max taught him, Liam began to understand. "The lions understand these signs," Max explained. "You must be patient. You must be quiet and focused." Liam nodded, determined. "I'll learn. I'll do whatever it takes." Max patted his shoulder gently, his eyes filled with understanding. "You'll need to be careful, Liam. Revenge isn't easy, but I believe you can do it. You're not alone in this anymore." Liam smiled faintly. "Thank you, Max. I don't know what I would have done without you." Max gave a small nod and then turned back toward the rest of the animals. "Now," he said, "it's time to practice." They spent the next few hours practicing the signals, moving through the forest with careful steps. Liam wasn't sure how long it would take to master the language, but he was determined. He couldn't let the tiger win. As they practiced, Liam could feel a growing sense of strength within him. He wasn't just a boy anymore. He was someone who could face the dangers of the forest with the help of his new friends, and together they would make sure that no more innocent animals would suffer at the paws of that tiger. Liam followed Max through the dense forest, his heart pounding with anticipation. They were heading to meet Leo, the lion Max had spoken about, the powerful ruler of the forest. Leo was known for his wisdom and strength, a creature respected by all who lived there. After walking for what seemed like hours, they finally reached a wide clearing. In the center stood Leo, a massive lion with a golden mane that shimmered in the sunlight. His eyes, sharp and knowing, scanned the area as though he was always aware of everything around him. Max stepped forward, his usual playful demeanor replaced with seriousness. "Leo," he called softly. The lion turned his head, his piercing gaze settling on Max, and then on Liam. Liam froze for a moment, nervous under the lion's intense stare, but Max's steady presence seemed to calm him. Leo took a slow step forward, his powerful muscles rippling with each movement. "What brings you here, Max?" he asked in a low, rumbling voice. Max nodded toward Liam. "This boy, Liam, has suffered a great loss. His pet deer was killed by a tiger. He seeks justice, and I believe he has the courage to take on the predator." Leo studied Liam closely, his gaze unwavering. The boy looked small in comparison, standing so still yet with an air of determination. There was something about Liam's quiet strength that caught the lion's attention. Liam took a deep breath. "I know I'm just a boy," he said, his voice steady but filled with emotion. "But Oliver, he was my family. I can't let the tiger go on hurting others. I need to stop him." Leo's golden eyes softened for a moment. He stepped closer to Liam, lowering his head in a sign of respect. "You speak with conviction," Leo said. "But why should I trust you, human? You are small, and the tiger is strong." Liam didn't back down. He looked the lion in the eye, his voice calm but full of determination. "I may be small, but I'm not afraid. I've learned a lot from the forest already. I can work with you. Together, we can stop the tiger." Leo studied him for a long moment, considering his words. Finally, he nodded. "Your courage speaks louder than your size. I will help you, Liam. But know this, revenge is not simple. There is danger in seeking it." Liam swallowed hard, his heart racing. "I understand. But I have to do this." Max smiled proudly. "He's right, Leo. He's stronger than he looks. I believe in him." The lion let out a deep growl, and for a brief moment, Liam feared he had made a mistake. But then Leo spoke again, his voice gentle but firm. "Very well, Liam. I will join you in your quest. The tiger will not rule this forest for much longer." Liam's face broke into a relieved smile. "Thank you, Leo. I won't let you down." Leo stood tall, his mane swaying in the wind. "You've earned my respect, Liam. Now we must prepare. We will need to be clever, swift, and patient." Max clapped his hands together, excited. "That's the spirit. Together, we'll make sure the tiger learns who rules this land." The lion gave a final nod, signaling their pact was made. And in that moment, Liam felt the weight of the forest's approval. He was no longer just a boy in mourning. He was now part of something greater. With Leo and Max by his side, he felt ready to face whatever dangers lay ahead. The alliance had been formed, and the battle to protect the forest was about to begin. The forest was still, almost unnaturally so. The usual sounds of birds and rustling leaves seemed muted, as if nature itself was holding its breath. Liam, Max, and Leo moved quietly through the underbrush, their eyes sharp, every sound heightened in the tense air. They were preparing for the most important part of their plan, setting the trap for the tiger. They had chosen a narrow ravine, a place where the tiger often hunted. It was the perfect location, tight and confined, giving the predator little room to escape. The plan had to be flawless, for failure was not an option. Max scurried up to a tree and signaled to Liam with a quick, practiced gesture. "It's almost time," he whispered. "Everything how to go, according to plan." Liam nodded, his hands trembling with anticipation. The loss of Oliver still weighed heavily on him, and every step of this hunt felt like a step closer to justice. "We can do this. We have to." Leo, his golden mane blending with the tall grass, moved silently beside them. His presence was commanding, yet he remained calm and focused. He knew the forest, and he trusted his instincts. "The tiger will come soon," Leo said in his deep voice, breaking the silence. "It's part of its nature. We'll use that to our advantage." Max turned to Liam, his expression serious but encouraging. "You're the one who knows the forest best, Liam. Use the signals I taught you. They'll guide the tiger right into the ravine." Liam's heart beat faster. He had been practicing the signals, quick bursts of sound, subtle movements of his hands that would draw the tiger's attention without alarming it. The tiger was intelligent, but it was also proud and territorial. If they played their cards right, it would follow the signs straight into the trap. Max, climbing up a tree for a better vantage point, gave the signal. Liam took a deep breath, signaling back as he stepped forward, careful not to make a sound. The tension was palpable. Every step, every gesture felt like a thread in the delicate web of their plan. Time seemed to stretch as Liam waited for the tiger to take the bait. His mind raced. Would the tiger fall for the trap? Would it even come? The ravine was quiet, too quiet. The wind barely moved the leaves, and Liam's breath seemed too loud in his ears. Then, a rustle. Liam's heart skipped a beat. He quickly signaled to Max, who in turn sent a message to Leo. The tiger was coming. Liam's palms were slick with sweat as he crouched behind a bush, his eyes locked on the path ahead. He could hear the steady thump of the tiger's powerful paws on the ground. It was closer now, each step echoing through the forest like a drumbeat. The trap was set. Max gave him one last reassuring look from the tree. "Stay calm," he whispered. "Trust the plan." Liam nodded, trying to steady his breath, his nerves on edge. The tiger was now just a few paces away. He held his hand out in front of him, signaling with a quick flick of his fingers. The tiger paused, sniffing the air. It was curious, but it didn't seem to sense danger. Liam stepped back slowly, keeping his movements fluid and controlled, guiding the tiger closer to the ravine. And then, just as planned, the tiger emerged into the open space of the ravine. There was a moment of stillness. The tiger looked around, its sharp eyes scanning the area. Liam held his breath, praying that the predator wouldn't catch on to the trap. Suddenly, Leo and his pride lunged from their hiding spots on either side of the ravine. The tiger snarled, its eyes wide with surprise, but it was too late. The ravine had no escape. The tiger growled, furious, but the pride of lions closed in, their power and coordination overwhelming the creature. The trap had worked. The battle had begun. Liam watched, a mix of fear and triumph in his chest. This was it, the moment when justice would finally be served for Oliver. The suspense had been unbearable, but the trap was set, and the tiger was now at the mercy of the lion pride. The moment the tiger realized it had been trapped, the air grew thick with tension. It let out a furious roar, its body tense and ready for battle. The tiger, once sleek and calculating, now faced a battle of survival. It swiped its massive paws through the air, its eyes wild with fury and confusion. Liam's heart pounded in his chest as he crouched behind a large boulder, watching the chaos unfold before him. The tiger was cornered, but it was far from defeated. It snarled at the lions, its eyes locked on Leo, the leader of the pride, who stood tall and unyielding. The lions circled, but they knew the tiger was a dangerous opponent. Max, perched on a high branch, observed the scene carefully. "Liam," he whispered urgently, "it's time. The tiger is still too strong for Leo alone. You need to keep its attention on you. Distract it. Focus, Liam." Liam's palms were sweating, but his determination was stronger than his fear. He thought of Oliver, his gentle companion, the deer he had loved like a brother. He had promised Oliver that justice would be done. He could feel the weight of his grief, but it gave him the strength to act. Slowly, he crawled out from his hiding spot, signaling to Max. His plan was simple: make himself the target of the tiger's wrath so that Leo could land the final blow. Liam moved cautiously, his heart racing as he stepped into the open. The tiger's eyes snapped toward him. It growled, the low rumble vibrating the ground beneath him. Liam's breath hitched, but he stood tall, keeping his focus on the task ahead. Max, seeing Liam's courage, let out a small cheer from the tree. "That's it, Liam. Keep moving." Liam began to make quick, sharp movements, trying to catch the tiger's attention. He waved his arms in the air, making loud, clicking sounds with his tongue, the signals Max had taught him. The tiger's focus shifted, its sharp eyes tracking Liam's every move. For a moment, it was as though time slowed. The forest stood still, holding its breath. Then, the tiger lunged. Its massive body leaped toward Liam with terrifying speed. But Liam had prepared for this. With a shout, he ducked, narrowly avoiding the tiger's deadly claws, his heart racing with adrenaline. The tiger's momentum carried it past him, and that was all Leo needed. With a powerful roar, Leo lunged at the tiger, his claws slashing through the air. The tiger, still fixated on Liam, didn't have time to react. Leo's massive body collided with the tiger's side, knocking it off balance. Liam quickly scrambled to his feet and stepped back, his breath coming in sharp, desperate gasps. He watched as Leo and the tiger began to wrestle, a violent clash of strength and fury. The sound of their struggle echoed through the ravine. Max jumped down from the tree, now on the ground beside Liam. "You've done well," he said, his voice full of admiration. "Now, let Leo finish it." Liam nodded, but his eyes never left the battle. He felt a mix of fear and hope. The tiger was powerful, but Leo was stronger, and Leo was not alone. As the battle raged on, Liam thought back to the moments he had shared with Oliver, the quiet days spent in the forest, the joy of their adventures together. His heart ached, but that pain fueled his determination. The tiger, bloodied and weakened, made one final desperate attempt to escape. With a swift move, it turned to leap away from Leo. But Leo was ready. With one mighty swipe of his paw, Leo caught the tiger by the throat, pinning it down. The tiger struggled, but it was no match for the lion's power. For a long, tense moment, the tiger tried to fight, but its movements grew weaker. Finally, with one last roar, it stopped struggling, its body going limp under Leo's powerful grip. The forest was silent once again. Liam stood frozen, his heart still pounding in his chest. Max quietly approached him, his eyes full of respect. "You did it," Max said softly. "Justice is served. Oliver can rest in peace now." Liam's eyes filled with tears as he stared at the fallen tiger, the weight of the moment crashing down on him. He had avenged Oliver's death. But it wasn't just about the victory. It was about the love he had for his companion, the bond that had driven him to this point. Leo stepped forward, his golden mane swaying in the wind as he looked at Liam. "You were brave," Leo said, his voice deep and calming. "Oliver's spirit will live on in you, in your heart, forever." Liam nodded, unable to speak. His chest ached with the loss, but he knew in that moment that he had done what was necessary. He had honored his bond with Oliver, and in the end, that was all that mattered. The battle was over. The once fierce tiger, now defeated, lay still on the ground, its body limp and motionless. Leo stood over it, breathing heavily, his golden mane flowing in the wind as the last remnants of tension faded from the air. The forest was silent, the quiet echoing the finality of the moment. Liam watched in awe as Leo took one last powerful step back. "The forest is safe now," Leo said, his voice calm and steady. The tiger was no longer a threat. Liam's heart, though, was heavy. He had expected a rush of triumph, a feeling of justice. Instead, all he felt was an overwhelming sense of relief, mixed with sorrow. Oliver wasn't coming back. No matter how hard he had fought, no matter how much strength he had summoned, the one he had lost could never be replaced. He stepped forward, looking at the fallen tiger. It had been a threat, a danger, but it had also been a creature of the wild, fighting for survival. Liam's heart softened as he realized that vengeance, though it had been necessary, wasn't the answer. It didn't bring Oliver back, and it didn't change what had happened. Max, who had quietly observed the entire battle, came up beside Liam, offering a gentle pat on his back. "You did what needed to be done," Max said. "But the forest isn't about revenge. It's about balance." Liam nodded, feeling the weight of the chimpanzee's words. In that moment, he understood. The forest wasn't just a place of danger and survival. It was a place where every creature, predator and prey alike, played a part in a delicate balance. The tiger had been a part of that too, but so had Oliver. And now, Liam had to learn to live with both of them in his heart. Liam turned to Leo. "Thank you," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "You saved me. You saved the forest." Leo nodded, his eyes wise and understanding. "You have a heart strong enough to protect the forest, Liam. Remember that. It's not just about strength. It's about wisdom, kindness, and knowing when to act." Liam smiled faintly. He knew Leo's words were true. He had been strong, but it was his love for Oliver, his respect for the forest, and his courage in the face of danger that had truly made him strong. It was time to say goodbye. Liam looked at Max, who had become a friend, a source of comfort during his darkest moments. "Thank you, Max, for everything. I'll never forget you." Max smiled warmly, his eyes full of affection. "You don't need to thank me. You have the strength inside you, Liam. Just remember, the forest is always here for you." With a final nod, Max climbed up into the trees, disappearing into the thick canopy above. Liam turned back to Leo, who gave him one last approving look. "Go home, Liam. The forest will take care of itself now, but you have to carry what you've learned." Liam nodded again, swallowing the lump in his throat. He turned away, heading toward the path that led back home. As he walked through the familiar woods, the birds chirping around him, he felt a strange sense of peace. The world around him hadn't changed, but he had. He knew now that the forest was more than just a place of danger and survival. It was a place of healing, a place where life and death were intertwined, and where every creature had its place. And while Oliver was gone, Liam carried him with him. His spirit would live on in the forest, in the memories, in the love they had shared. When Liam finally reached the edge of the forest, he looked back one last time, his eyes scanning the trees. He had learned so much, about love, loss, strength, and the balance of nature. He knew that life, just like the forest, was a constant cycle of growth and change. But most importantly, he knew that he would carry Oliver's memory with him forever, and that in itself was a kind of peace. Years passed, but Liam's heart never forgot the bond he shared with Oliver. Though he had grown older, his love for the forest, its creatures, and the lessons learned in its depths remained a constant. The pain of loss had softened, but it had also sparked a deep desire to protect what Oliver had loved so much. Liam became a young conservationist, advocating for the protection of wildlife and working tirelessly to create safe spaces for animals. His voice was strong and his heart resolute, as he spoke about the importance of nature and the delicate balance that sustained it. The message was clear. If we want to protect the world, we must first learn to love and respect the creatures that share it with us. As part of his mission, Liam created a small sanctuary near his home, a peaceful refuge for animals in need. It wasn't large, but it was enough to offer shelter to those who had suffered, enough to give a second chance to the creatures who needed it most. The sanctuary quickly became a place of healing, not just for the animals, but for Liam himself. Each time he cared for an injured animal, each time he saw the peaceful harmony of the forest surrounding his home, he felt closer to Oliver. One crisp autumn afternoon, Liam returned to the forest, the place that had once been filled with both love and heartbreak. He walked through the familiar trees, feeling the wind gently rustling the leaves above him, and he arrived at Oliver's favorite spot. The spot where they had spent so many hours together, playing, exploring, and simply being. With reverence, Liam knelt down on the soft earth and planted a small sapling, a tree that would one day stand tall, just like the love that had once existed between him and his beloved deer. He watered the tree carefully, whispering a quiet prayer. In that moment, he felt the presence of Oliver beside him. In the whisper of the wind and the rustle of the leaves, it was as if the forest itself was wrapping him in a warm embrace, reminding him that some bonds never truly break. Liam stood up slowly, wiping a tear from his cheek. He smiled softly, feeling a deep sense of peace. The tree would grow strong, its roots running deep in the soil, just as his love for Oliver would remain, rooted in his heart forever. As he turned to leave, Liam looked back at the sapling one last time. He knew that it wasn't just a tree. It was a symbol of the enduring connection between humans and animals, a reminder that love transcends life and death. No matter how much time passed, Oliver would always be with him, in every tree, every leaf, and every creature that roamed the forest. The story of Liam and Oliver wasn't just one of loss. It was a story of transformation, a story of how love, no matter the form, has the power to change the world. And as the sun began to set, casting a warm golden glow over the forest, Liam knew one thing for certain. The bond he shared with Oliver had shaped him into who he was meant to be, and it would inspire him to continue fighting for the protection and love of all creatures for as long as he lived. What an incredible journey we've witnessed today, one that reminds us how powerful love truly is and how it can shape not only our lives, but the world around us. Liam's story teaches us that vengeance may not heal all wounds, but the bonds we share with animals are timeless and irreplaceable. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and leave a comment below. We'd love to hear what you think about Liam's journey and how love for our furry companions can inspire change. Remember to subscribe to our channel for more heartwarming and thought-provoking stories, and make sure to hit the bell icon so you never miss a new video. Together, we can create a community that celebrates the beautiful connections we share with all creatures. Until next time. take care, and never forget. The love we give always leaves a lasting impact.